I'd be curious to know as well. So within, again, this idea of like all of the many hats, like how much fun do you have, or how much like music have you actually created yourself? Because I know from talking with you, you know, you do have like you have experience with sort of like the engineering side of creating music and things like that. Like how much actual song creation has been a part of your musical career?
Ever.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's been like, I didn't write my first song until I was like 12.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got into, my process was I was going to make 1,000 songs before I introduced myself as an artist or a rapper to
wow.
anyone. So I was at home writing and recording,
okay,
engineering myself,
right,
like 12, 13, and I hit my 1,000 songs, and then I was able to step out and say, okay, this is what I do.
Wow.
And then it became something that developed a little later. So towards the end of high school, when I really stepped in, then I was like, all right, I got to start making like official projects. So like in terms of official albums and projects, I have 5 bodies of work.
Right.
That are available for consumption now.
Hey, okay, yeah. Yeah, and those actually, like, they sound amazing. Mm-hmm. Like I was
people around me.
Yeah, man, like it was like not only in terms of like, you know, your performance specifically in terms of just like, you know, flow and delivery and the actual lyrics that you're saying, because you do a very good job of like, you know, your songs sound different. You're not just doing the same thing. It's not like your cadence is the same each song, each track or whatever. You know what I mean? Like you definitely mix it up. And a big part of that for sure is like the production in terms of how you like layer vocals and do like ad libs and stuff like that too. So that's pretty amazing. I was going to say, like listening to your stuff, it's, you obviously like do a very good job, but that's crazy. So you did 1,000 songs, yeah, and then you're like, now I'm going to start, yeah, basically. That's wild. So then obviously you have a lot of experience just like, yeah, making that music. But would you say for yourself, you know, again, like from the performance more of like, let's say writing lyrics or performing, like doing the voice performance on a track, these days, do you prefer to create the music yourself or have the idea start with you? Or do you like it better when someone says like, yo, Jay, like check out this beat. I know you love it. You'll be able to work with this.
Well, I just started writing again, so there may be more music from Jake DeLarge in the near future.
Okay.
I've taken a hiatus from that just so I can just grow as a person. But in terms of how my process is, like I never wrote to music. I just wrote.
Okay.
So when I was around people who are making music, I could spot the song. I could hear the music. I could hear it and know that this matches this piece that I've written. This matches this set of emotions that I've been creating out of. This speaks to or reflects a particular point in my life, and then I could approach it from like the retrospect. But I never wrote to music. It's very rare that someone will be like, hey, I'm making this beat, write something to it.
Right.
It's always like I have the song written already.
That's cool though. But what's interesting is it's like, and again, this ties in with the translator thing, where like it's interesting how for you when you are creating those lyrics or whatever, like you also, it's not just the words, but you've sort of painted a bit of a picture with those words anyway, so that when you hear that track that has those characteristics or that vibe or whatever, you can say like, yeah, like that's what I've been looking for, because it's not just about you, you know, it's not like anyone's just going to throw you a beat and you're like, yeah, all right, like, yeah, I just wrote something, like that's fine, I'll just work with this. It's like you know, you think way more about the context around the like sort of how those words are going to land and like what they're going to be recorded over. So that's super cool, man. I really appreciate that you have that. Again, as I said earlier, you do a very good job of kind of keeping this, you see yourself within this sort of like bird's eye view perspective of whatever it is that you have going on, which is something I appreciate about you, you know?
Thank you.
And even that approach to like, you know, song creation and then recording those lyrics and things like that. It's like just like that as well. So yeah.
And that marriage is cool. Like I love talking about like the creative process with people that are creative, because everybody has such a different way of sort of navigating through that and doing it. And I appreciate your perspective and how you kind of marry, like you just kind of said that, you know, you can hear when the music is there, you know, that's right for what you've written, right? So it's almost like a marriage of the two sort of pieces together. which is a really interesting way to sort of do that, and that's really cool. But if we fast forward a bit, again, you've kind of had all this different experience and sort of building all these skills throughout your time in music and doing different things, and now I know you just like recently got involved in the publishing game, and sort of like more in like the studio's long gone now. You're in the business side of music. Like why would you do that?
I had to.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Like I was always like averse to like having business conversations and like talking about money. It was like a very like sensitive and like traumatic area, and just getting deeper and deeper into music, you can't avoid it. So I got to a point where I was on radio and television independently, so the business came to me. I couldn't really avoid it anymore. So there were certain conversations I would still like sidestep and maybe pawn it off and let my producer handle that. He's much more than my producer. It's like my best friend. Shout out to Free, Don Frederico. This is my best friend. This is my producer. This is my business partner. I let him have those conversations because I know he's ready for that. He's built for that off rip. He wants to handle the business right away and then create, because that's where he plays, right? But for me, I'm just trying to play the whole time. So I couldn't avoid the business, and eventually things started changing, or at least I recognized that the change that was happening was like cyclical, and it was always on time. Every 5 years, the whole business is going to change. I did a documentary called The Sound of Life when I was in radio, and it was just about like the transition with society going from a place of like being able to just hear all the time to consistently and always having our ears covered and listening and being in our own bubble of other things. So now you can't hear the truck passing by. You don't hear the random conversation behind you on the bus. You don't hear shit unless you want to. So that came about just researching the marriage of like tech and music and how we were going to go from the vinyl to the cassette to the CD to the MP3 to streaming. So all of these things kind of bundled up together to where I was like, okay, the business, how's the business responding to all of this new shit? Because every 3, 4, 5 years, I can change the way I put out music, right? I have a distributor in my pocket now. Before you had to be put out by a label. Then it was like free mixtape sites and LimeWire and the fallout from Napster and all that. Right. So I couldn't avoid it anymore.
Right. Okay. So then that was like sort of through this process, and as time went on, that's where more and more like you sort of started to get into that like producer seat back.
Yeah. Even like beyond producer, just how does the business work? How does everybody get paid? I had a friend, he played a very famous guitar riff and it was never credited for it. And that situation like really opened my eyes to how easy it is for just simple business not to get handled.
Right.
And he asked me one day, like, do you want to get rich or do you want to make a living like doing what you do? And I'd never considered what it meant, what those words meant, make a living.
Right.
What does it mean to make a living?
Right.
It's not being rich. It's not being like just absurdly wealthy. It's just being able to take care of everything that you gotta take care of.
It's like getting paid for that guitar riff that you gave to someone. And like, and things like that. Yeah.
So it led to all that. And I was wondering, okay, even to the point of the live shows, that's where artists normally make all the money, because the contract doesn't permit you to get paid unless you recoup. It's so many little things. And then there's like the publishing, which is a whole nother thing that no one knows how to explain. And I would love to explain it here as best I can, given the opportunity. But I just had to ask these questions. And ultimately I was like, the thing that I know I can do forever is write.
Right.
I always looked at being an artist or being a rapper as like the NFL. you know, you got 3 or 4 years to really
Right.
get it.
Right.
And if you do it right, then that grants you 10, 20. You might not drop new shit that people love for the next 10, 20, but you could at least come out and perform. You could hit these festivals. You could be a legacy act, but you have to get the first 5 years right.
Right.
And then it also like you've kind of outlined this whole conversation. It just gives you so much more opportunity within everything else in the industry, not just being an artist, right? Even from the business side, like I'm curious to know now, again, where you have you're able to work with so many different people. Like now you're able to kind of like take people under your wing, like from a business perspective as well. Is that something that you've kind of like navigated into quite yet, or are you still just kind of like your brand is your only part of your business, or you're taking on other acts type of thing?
I haven't taken on any other acts in terms of like mentoring them in business, but I just wanted to put myself in a position to where I could, right? I could take advantage of certain opportunities that aren't available to Jake DeLarge, the rapper, right? But are totally available and probably more readily available to Jason Strachan,
Right.
The business owner,
Right.
or the publisher,
Of course,
or just the person.
Right. I think that also ties into to even kind of what you said before, where, you know, fundamentally it's like, it seems like, you know, yeah, you didn't want to be the focal point of the spotlight. You know what I mean? It's like, and you kind of got a taste of it and you sort of dipped your toes in it. But like fundamentally, I think for kind of who you are as a person, you're like, I didn't want that. So that this also kind of makes sense that, you know, again, your process through all of this is one which includes learning these like small nuts and bolts of the actual business side of things and like how it is that someone can make a living and like learning about that side of thing in the publications or the publishing rather and things like that. So yeah, that all makes sense, and it's a very interesting. Now you and I have spoken about this before, so there's quite a lot of details that we've gone over because you have quite an extensive amount of like different experiences in the industry and stuff like that. But it is really, really cool, especially for me knowing that, but even just as this conversation has alluded to, the fact that you have really experienced so much of these different, I was going to say nuances, but they're much bigger than a nuances, these different sects or factions of the music industry, and that it's all like, it's not like it's different hats that you wear, but they're all pieces of the one hat that you wear. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Got to get to a point to realize that it's that, you know, and not all these different things, because it can get overwhelming. Like, I never had a manager.
Right.
Right. I managed myself. What does that mean? As the rapper, I don't see the ability to compartmentalize that. It's just, this is what I do. I figure out the shows. I'm the person making the artwork. I make the song. I'll write the treatment for the video. I'll find the director. And then that eventually turned into me directing. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just do that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it always happens. Like, oh, we gotta register this with SoCan. Okay, what does this mean? Oh, it's playing on the radio. What does it mean? And all these things happen. You're on a playlist. What does it mean? What does it mean?
What does it mean?
That's
right.
Well, that's like so important too, right? Because just for sustainability of anybody in this industry, it's knowing a bit about the business stuff, knowing how to sign up with SoCan, knowing how to, you know, when that royalty check comes through the mail, you know, like those types of things. And like that process is like, no one tells you anything about that. Like it's this very like hush hush thing when you first get into music, because it's like, but it's also so important, you know?
It's not sexy. That's
what it is.
Yeah. It's a lot of paperwork.
It's like, it makes me think of actually one time seeing this video online of like, it was like a snapshot of some audio engineer or producer or something. It's like, this is what people think. And it's like this dude in the studio and he's like, lights are flashing and, you know, there's like people dancing around and everyone's just like grooving. It's like, this is actually what it is. And it's him just going through different like kick drum hits and just going like hitting a sound and going like, that sounds pretty good. And then doing another one, you're like, that sounds okay. And then doing it, you know, it was like, and like, that's actually what it is. And it's just like, you know, people have that idea that, you know, and it's like, it's kind of like the football player analogy thing kind of works too, because it's like people sort of think that like, you know, the star quarterback is like the be all end all. It's like, when you think about it, there's like hundreds of dudes like on the field playing for that team. There's these entire organization. There's the arena full of people. There's the people that work at the arena and stuff like that. And it's just like, really, that like focal point of all of that is just a drop in the bucket. There's actually everything else around it that is like fundamentally sort of the reason why everything is there in the first place. So again, it makes sense that you kind of work your way back to that point, right? Yeah. And that, you know, for yourself, and again, coming back to understanding that concept of like, well, it's not about like chasing that crazy fat paycheck or whatever, but it's about like, well, how do I make a living, right? How do I learn how to do this? How do I learn how to properly make a living? Because what's your classic line? Like, cool doesn't feed the kids.
Yeah, can't feed kids with cool.
Can't feed kids with cool. That's it. That's like case in point right there. You know what I mean? Like,
as cool as you want to, man. But
yeah, it's like your Instagram video of you playing guitar in the studio might look dope, but if you're not getting paid for it, then you know. Yeah,
tricky. That was like when we met. The first thing I said when you told me what you did, I was like, "Oh, you figured it out."
Right, right. Yeah. Well, I think we're still figuring it out, actually. But yeah,
one day at a time.
Appreciate that, though. Yeah, but it's like different ways to, and yeah, it's funny to think about. You know, for us to be able to have music in our lives, it's kind of like, yeah, we created a business where we sort of provide various different types of programming and things like that. It's not like we're the ones that are actually just creating music outright for ourselves, and that's how we like you know, can make a dollar. But anyway, but
well, I would be curious to know, Jay, like what's next? Like, what do you want to do next? Like, you've had so many interesting experiences,
just a real easy one for you,
in all part of the industry, but like as you're getting more and more I don't know if stability is the right word, but just like you know, footing within the industry. Like, where do you want to take it next? Where do you see yourself going?
Honestly, my main goal is just to be me. You know,
right.
I just want to be me, and hopefully I can teach the things that I was taught, and maybe I can inspire someone, maybe inform someone, maybe motivate someone, and yeah, just continue to be me and just fulfill the purpose. You know, whatever it is. I'm not really gonna be here to see the aha, like, oh, that was the reason for everything.
Yeah.
But at least let me like do my part, live up to my role.
Man, I appreciate that for sure.
Absolutely. And even within the context of that sports analogy John was just saying, like, you know, that quarterback, those linemen, the fans, the coaches, they all exist because everyone else is there. Without any one of those aspects, none of that would even be a thing. Nobody would care, right? And it's the same thing for music, like especially within the collaborative piece where there's so many different people, you know, making this thing be the thing that it is, and it's so cool, right? So I appreciate you saying that, because I think when it comes to art and creativity and sharing skills and all of those things, it needs to come from such a genuine place, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's fabricated and it's weird.
It's a commodity. And
Yeah.
you can't do that with art, and you can't do it with like just genuine expression.
Yeah.
You have to. It has to be real, or else it's not special.
Right. Has to be real, just like, you know, we got those nice background sirens as we're recording. This is a real thing. It's happening in real time right now, you know?
In the city.
We're in the city,
Somebody needs help. That's what's really going on.
Yeah, that was nice. I thought I'd acknowledge that. But, okay, so here's one. Maybe we can set it off on this one. But one thing that we always like to ask, because it's super cool to hear what's going on with people in terms of music. Like, so what music are you listening to right now, man? Like, obviously, you know, you've got all kinds of experience working in the industry, creating your own music, working with different artists who create their own music and things like that. But like, what music does Jason Strachan listen to? What have you been listening to lately?
I'm listening to Burna Boy.
Oh yeah,
that album, Love Domini. Just beautiful music. We were talking about like the vibration of music. Just vibrates higher.
Yeah,
I'm in a place where it's a little more challenging for me to listen to certain things, even though like I love hardcore gangster rap, but like sometimes you just want to shoot 100 motherfuckers. You know, but there's a time and place for that. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
so a lot of Burna Boy, Action Bronson's, Cocodrillo Turbo, nuts, off the wall shit. What else am I listening to?
What's something that you're listening to right now that like would surprise someone that knows you? And I might even throw in the term kind of guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure.
Which actually isn't that the name of the track that you did with Z?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The songs you did. I think that's the last song that I'm on that's been released.
Right, and that actually came out like fairly recently too.
Yeah.
Which actually, and really quickly, I was going to say that to me is an example of why I like how I would applaud your ability to sort of do different vocal performances, because I feel like in that song, it fits the mood of the song very well. It's like really like kind of chill and kind of laid back, but when you compare that to like some of the other Jake DeLarge stuff, it's like night and day, you know, totally. which is amazing and a testament to you. So anyway, nice little shout out to
Go Stream Guilty Pleasure.
Yeah.
Right now.
Shout out to the letter Z to Femi. But anyway, so what would you say is something maybe that like, you know, people wouldn't expect you to listen to that maybe you kind of got in the rotation right now?
I don't know if people wouldn't be expecting it, but you know what I've been bumping like ridiculously? It's 3 songs just like back to back to back, maybe 4 of them, but it's in this order. It's like Kiss from a Rose.
Oh yeah.
Hero, is it Hero? The song from the Spider-Man soundtrack.
Yeah. Michael Bolt?
No. It's I think it's Chad from Nickelback.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Chad Kroeger.
Yes.
It's the Spider-Man
hero.
Yeah. Right.
That's my
Not
shit.
gonna
8 bars.
Right.
8 bars. And it's perfect.
Right.
Love that song. Human Nature. It's Human Nature.
Mm-hmm.
So. And that song by Tattoo, All the Things She Said.
I don't know if
All the things she said, running through my head, running through
Oh,
my
of course. Yeah. Right.
That's it. That's been my list for a while. When I'm not listening to Burna Boy.
Right. Or when you're not quickly jumping back into some like hardcore gangster rap.
Yeah. If I'm not listening to Pusha T, which is like his album, It's Almost Dry, a masterpiece. It makes you want to rap.
Right.
Like I always judge albums, like rap albums, by that measure. Like, does it make you want to rap?
That's interesting, actually. Yeah, because that's a certain kind of category where it's like it resonates a little, maybe not necessarily deeper, but like there's a certain point in your brain where it resonates, where like it like tickles that bone when you're like, ooh, yeah.
It's like I gotta find something.
Yeah.
Also, well, let me just flip back to like "Kiss from a Rose."
Speaking of vocal layers.
Oh my god, dude, that
Yeah.
song is incredible, and I that's a song where I can remember actually like years ago we happened to be drinking a beer in a bar that played music videos, and we were hanging with a couple friends and just like, you know, just hanging, just like. All of a sudden, this video came on, and it was Seal Kiss from a Rose, and it just hit me. And it had been a minute since I'd listened to it. And that night, I went home and threw on these headphones, like proper headphones, and listened to it, and like just floored. Like that song.
It's bananas.
Oh, the first off, like the vocal performance, but like the chord changes, the melody changes. Oh,
It's the
like
rise
it's
and fall of the song. Like it gets to this huge point, and then like the way that it it resolves itself and the end is like
totally.
And it's like 5 minutes of just giving her.
It's a journey. Yeah, it's a journey.
It's 5 minutes.
Imagine that's how Seal describes it. You know, I just went in there and I was just fucking giving her
5 minutes of it.
Yeah,
That's what it is, man.
That's great, man.
That is great.
So I don't even know what he's talking about.
No.
But it sounds great.
Yeah, but did you know that when it snows?
I understand, but I don't know what he's talking about.
No.
I just understand.
No, I agree. Like, I actually don't even really know what the words are, except for "baby." But like for me, it's just I just follow that melody, and then I picture like even the music behind it is quite sparse. It's so interesting. Like even the song itself, it's just like, holy smokes, like there's just so much to appreciate about it, but at the end of the day, it's just like you can also just be like, man, this is a banger. Like that's it, that's all, you know.
It's it just makes me think like, man, you know, I don't know any other Seal songs, but the thing he did it one time, and it's timeless.
Yeah,
it works forever and ever and ever and ever, and he doesn't have to do anything else.
No.
It's like I would love to be able to be a part of that kind of
project like that.
Yeah.
Like a lasting piece.
That's like a legacy piece right there. That's like, you know, that, and I mean,
That's what's next. That's what I'm.
Okay,
That's the next, yeah.
Okay, nice.
Your version of Kissed by a Rose. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look forward to that,
it,
man. Yeah.
Hey.
Whether it's Jason Strachan or Jake DeLarge, man, I can't wait.
We're coming. Man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, on that note, Jay, is there anything you want to plug? Any projects you're upcoming? Anything people should stay tuned for or look out for?
Go listen to J Soul Too Much. The video's out now as well.
Mm-hmm.
Go listen to the Heartbreak Kid album by J Soul. Another incredible piece. That's my guy. We've been thugging for a while, just making it happen. He's my De Niro.
Right.
But what else is out there? I can't even say, man. That's like the freshest thing.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
And we appreciate that, and we appreciate you taking some time and chatting with us and sharing some stories, man. It was great to get some insight into your creative process, into some of the things that you're doing, and best of luck moving forward. And yeah, this was a blast.
Yeah, and best of luck chasing down that legacy track.
Legacy piece.
So
trying to. Yeah, I need to do a part 2, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll check in with you in a little bit and see what's happening. We check in with you and you're like, turns out I've been sued by Seal. So remember when we were singing those voice melodies? Yeah. You can't do that on a podcast apparently. So
we'll find out.
Yeah.
Out of fear of that, I did an album called DLRG. It's one of my more final pieces before my retirement, quote unquote retirement.
Is that the one with the the car?
The 8-bit.
Yeah, 8-bit. Yeah.
So that's about like the game, like the rap game.
Right.
So, and there's like these. I don't even want to give myself away, but fuck, there's these sound bites in it if you listen to the album that are very recognizable. And I'm like, man, if I could get sued, but if I do, that means it went far enough.
That means someone's listening. Someone
Yeah.
who cared enough generated
so
that lawsuit.
just rolled the dice on that.
Right. That's a funny thing. Hi, Jason Strachan. Yeah. You're being sued by such and such publication company. You'd be like, oh my god, I made it.
That's me. That's the legacy piece.
Yeah. Also, I'm fucking screwed. But in the meantime,
It's gonna cost more money to sue me than they're gonna get.
Yeah, true.
That's my defense.
Right.
That's what makes me.
All right, bankrupt.
It's self-defense.
Yeah, nice. All right, man. Well, thanks again. Really appreciate you coming to hang and chatting it up, man. It's been great and nice to hear a little bit more of the ins and outs of who Jason Strachan is and who Jake DeLarge is, for sure. Yeah.
Thank you. This was tight, man.
Yeah, thank you.